Okay, Nathan, go ahead and do this one. Go. Put a palm together.
Okay. Wait, do I just okay? Namo Bom Sir Tit Kat Moni Fuck. Namo Bom Sir Tit Kat Moni Fuck. Namo Bom Sir Tit Kat Moni Fuck. Wait, do I?
You can do the English one.
Oh, I can. Okay. The unsurpassed, the profound, subtle, wonderful Dharma in 100,000 million eons is difficult to encounter. Now that I've come to perceive and hold it within my sight and hearing, I vow to fathom the thus come one's true and actual meaning.
Okay, thank you. That's great. Okay. Okay, so last week we have learned about the difference between the mind consonant and the mana consonant, and we also learn about Ashoka when he remorse, right? And we learn about how his remorse helped him to become a good person, right? To the Buddhist psychology, I think that's what we learned last week. So let me go through this one more time before I will teach you the next one. Today I will focus on this thing. This is the model psychology we call the five universal interactive model. That's what we are going to learn today. Everybody know that there is five sides, right? The five sense of that means five consonants. The first five consonants is represent the body and the mouth. So let me go to when Ashoka was a bad person, right? He very easily get angry, right? So when he hears somebody say something, accuse him, this not abase him, right? He when he see the person who did not abase him or accuse him, right? That means the mind consonant will, that means the eye contact that person, the ear contact the voice of that person, and the mind consonant will pay attention to the person appearance, the physical person appearance, as well as the voice. Therefore, the anger, this is the feeling. The feeling of anger will arise so quickly because due to he had so much resentment, so much anger in here, and he very brutal at the beginning. Right, he was a brutal king. He even killed his own sibling in order to gain the power to become the king. That's why the feeling of anger can become so strongly, and that means control the thinking. That's what we call perception. And he had the thinking like this, the following perception, like how dare that person disobey my rule. I am the king, right? How dare that person accuse me? I am the king. So I should punish him or her or whatever. So due to that negative perception thinking, right? And that means the mind will control the body and the mouth. That means the five senses. The mouth will yell back at that person, and the body act very violently. That's what we call the volition. That means the action, and this will become negative. Due to the negative, that means he free of very bad karma. That's what we have learned so far. Now, last week we also learned about he feel remorse about his past brutal action, right? So he want to he make a vow that he never practice any violence and practice the non-violence. So unfortunately, he met the Buddhist monk it turned out to be his nephew, right? That means the oldest brother, son, and he the one who killed the oldest brother. That means the father of the monk. And the Buddhist monk very very loving kindness and compassion. He forgave the king, and therefore from that on, the king have a strong faith in Buddhism and devote himself at the Buddhism and study Buddhism. And that means he 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 learned so much about Buddhism that means the good thing that he put all the good teaching in here in the Alaya consciousness, that means the stores where it store all those things, and that means help him to remove the resentment, right? So let's say that someone accuse him or someone try to disobey him, and yeah, he that means the eye contact. I use the same example. The eye contact that person, the ear contact that person, boy, and the mind consciousness pay attention to those objects. That means the person appearance as well as the boy, and the feeling of anger arrive quickly. But at this time, instead of feeling of anger, he have a feeling of remorse, right? He arrived feeling of remorse because he have done so much destruction to other people. Therefore, the remorse feeling is arose so quickly, and give him a chance to have the positive perception. Um, okay, I know that I have done so much destruction and killed so many people, and I want to try my best to practice non-violence, and therefore I will do whatever to benefit other people. And when he had that, you know what? The action is he triggered the 5 cents here to help him to perform. That means he ordered because he's the king, right? He ordered his minister and other people to help him to execute the policy to benefit the people in general. So that's important. So okay. So now let me go to here and I will start the new one. So far, do you guys understand so far that the lesson I just review? Nathan, Novi, and Johnson. And
I understand. Hi.
okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. Thank you. Okay, this is important. Today I will give you the second model of Buddhist psychology, and you will understand more into the details. Okay. Okay. This is, we learned this one last week, I think. Yeah, we did. Okay. 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 Since the one I just give you example. Since the action, that means the volition. This one right here, step number 5, is positive. Therefore, we can use the second model in Buddhism. We call the 5. In Buddhism, we have 2 different models of Buddhist psychology. The first one is we learn about the 5 the 5 universal interactive model. That's the one I just walk you through. That 5: contact, attention, feeling, perception, and volition. That means the action. Okay. Now, due to the positive action, right, from the vivid model, now we be able to use the second model called the 5 particular state model for Ashoka remorse, right? This is important, so you will learn from here. Let's go to this one here to explain you the definition of the 5 elements. The 5 elements, that means the desire, the determination, the mindfulness, and concentration, and the wisdom. That are the 5 state, right, of the particular, we call the 5 particular state Buddhist psychology model. Okay, let's do this. Novi, can you read at the beginning?
The 5 universal interactive Buddhist psychology model helps us to recognize our emotional state. What does it mean? If we could not be able to recognize our emotional state, we will react, not act, then the emotion feeling will control our mind. This would yield the negative thinking and negative action, creating a bad karma. Once we are able to recognize our emotion, we will be able to control our mind with positive thinkings and act with proper manner. If the action is positive, then we can apply the 5 particular states model.
Okay, stop right there. Stop right there. So, do you understand so far what you just read? Nobody?
Oh yeah, I didn't hear.
Okay, so this five universal interactive model. That means it helps us to control our emotion. Okay, once we be able to recognize it, we will act instead of react. Usually, we react by emotion. That is a bad thing. But when we recognize the emotion, we just act instead of react. React, that means the bad thing, right? But when you act, that means you have the choice to pick what to do, right? But usually we control our mind with a positive thing and act with a proper manner. And therefore, when the action is positive, then we can apply the 5 particular state model. That is the second one here. This helps us to even more. Okay. All right. Nathan, in Texas, go ahead and do the first one. Read the 5 particular states.
The 5 particular states Buddhist psychology models helps us to transform our bad emotion into good feeling for a long time. This model has the following elements: desire, that is, this is a good desire, that we can only want a happy ending from whatever things that we are currently dealing with. Therefore, the negative action from the 5 universal interactive model is not applicable to the desire of this model.
Okay, so that means this desire, right? That means help us to
yeah.
The good this is only good desire. There is no bad desire for this kind of desire in this model. This desire represents for the good desire. What is the good desire? That means we want to have the good, happy ending, whatever the problem we are dealing with. For example, in this case, he dealing with his remorse feeling. Well, that means he only want to have the happy ending. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's why it has to be positive. Otherwise, the negative is not applicable for this model. Okay, so that is the thing. Okay, thank you, Nathan in California.
Which one do I read?
Number 2, determination.
Determination. The determination would help us to see the bad side of the problem, such as an anger or greed. We would also learn the benefits of letting go of the problem, such as anger or greed.
Okay, good. Stop right there. You understand the determination, right? Okay, usually the determination comes from it when we learn about the Buddha teaching and we know and we can be able to see the bad side of the problem and also the good side of the solution of the problem. So letting go, right? In this case, that it means that I should put more in here, but anyway, in this case, that the solution for the anger is the loving kindness. That means one, we understand the benefit of loving kindness. That's how we can be able to transform the anger. So that is what we call the determination, the loving kindness, and the bad side of the anger we learn from the Buddha teaching, so we understand it. Okay, this is just the definition. I will lay out that later on so you can understand in detail. Vincent, number 3 from.
Mindfulness. The mindfulness is to remember about the good conducts from others. For example, anger, loving kindness is an opposite from an anger. We should learn loving kindness conduct from the Buddhist stories that the Buddha or Bodhisattva has practiced the loving kindness or patience, this would give us a strong determination.
Okay, this one right here is support this one. Okay, in order to have the determination strongly, we need to understand how the loving kindness in this case. So that means we learn about the story, the one who practiced the loving kindness. Therefore, it will enhance our determination. It gives us more determined, right? That means the determination becomes strong. Okay. That's good. Johnson, do number 4.
Concentration. Due to the strong mindfulness and determination, our mind will not easily have ill thoughts. The mind becomes calm due to our loving kindness. From determination and loving kindness conduct from mindfulness.
Okay, all right. So that means because we from the determination, we understand the Buddha teaching. From the mindfulness, we learn about the story who have the good conduct on the loving kindness. That means we learn from that as well. The combination of the two gives us the strong mind. That means we do not easily have the ill thought, right? That means our mind is very calm due to the loving kindness that we are done. So this is important. All right, let me see. Nicholas, are you there? Maybe Nicholas did not feel well. Okay, that's okay. All right. Ivan, are you there? Vincent, your brother there?
No.
No, your brother not there. Johnson, go ahead and read the number 4.
Wisdom. Due to having no ill thoughts, our mind becomes calm and clear. Therefore, we would make a proper judgment on our current problem.
Right. Due to the good concentration, that means the mind have no ill thought, right? The mind becomes calm and clear. Therefore, we can make a proper judgment on our current problem. So this is important. Usually, when we stress or depressed, right, we cannot think, right? So that means usually we make a lot of mistakes on our decision. We make a bad judgment, therefore we create a lot of problems. So we need to understand that the one who have wisdom, that means they always have calm mind. The one have no wisdom, they do not have any calm mind. That's what we call ignorant. Right? So the opposite. Um, yeah. Okay, now we can start on study this. All right. Okay. Nathan, interested. Go ahead and start from read from the question and also from the up to here, up to the determination here. There you
Um,
go.
how do we use the 5 particular states model for Ashoka's remorse? Ashoka always wants to be free from his emotional suffering from his remorse so he can have a happy life. Fortunately, he met a Buddhist monk who was his eldest brother's son, and he has been forgiven by the monk. From that time on, he devoted himself to learning Buddhism. He truly understood the Dharma, especially how to let go of his ego and practice loving kindness. Here are the Buddhist teachings here are the Buddhist teachings about anger and loving kindness.
Good, stop right there. From now on, from here to all the way, we will learn about the good and the bad thing. The bad about of the anger and the ego, and the good thing about the loving kindness. We will learn about that. Novi, go ahead and do from number 1 to number 3. Okay.
Holding on to anger is like grasping a hot coal with the intent of throwing it at someone else. You are the one who gets burned. In the controversy, the instant we feel anger, we feel anger, we have already ceased striving for truth and have begun striving for ourselves. ego.
Yeah, good. That means when we anger, right? That means just like we're holding on the, wrapping on the hot coal, right? It's very hot. And with the intent to roast someone, we already get burned, right? The same thing. When we anger, we harm ourselves first. That's what the Buddha means. Okay. And if we in the controversy, that means we in the argument with other people, we instantly, right, feel the anger that already, we already have the anger. And what does that mean? It means that it will stop us from strive for the truth. That means learning the loving kindness. And we have begun strive for ourselves. That means the ego, right? That means we stuck, right? That's what it means. Okay, go ahead, do number 3, Novia.
You will not be punished for your anger. You will be punished by your anger.
Yeah, when we when we get angry, right? At that time, the angry at that time do not punish you, but the one that one you after the anger, right? Those that means we feel remorse, right? We will carry the remorse within us. That is punished by your anger. That's what it means. It will last longer. It will last for a long time. Just like Ashoka, he did so many things due to his anger, right? During that time, the anger do not punish him, but when he feel remorse, that will punish by the anger. That means the anger he already did. So that will he will carry the remorse and he suffer from that. That's what it means here. So we have to be very careful. Johnson, do number 4 to number 7.
An outside enemy exists only if there is an anger inside. Friendship is the only cure for hatred, the only guarantee of peace. Hatred does not cease by hatred, but only by love. This is the internal rule. There is no fire like passion, no crime like hatred, no sorrow like separation, no sickness like hunger, and no joy like joy of freedom.
Good. That means but the thing is, the enemy from outside only exists when we have anger inside. Friendship is only killed for hatred when we have a good friendship, right? The hatred will gone, right? And that will guarantee we live peacefully with each other. The hatred does not end by hatred, only by love. Then the hatred, then this is the eternal love. In order to remove the hatred, right? We need to practice the loving kindness. This is the eternal rule. That's what the Buddha said. They know fire like passion. That means passion in this case, that means reading, right? The reading. No crime like hatred. That means when someone get angry, right? You're angry. They make a lot of crazy mistake. That's why bring them to they will commit a lot of criminal, and that will put that end their life, right? And no sorrow like the separation. That means when our loved one depart from us, separate from us, that is very sorrow. That's what it means. No sickness like hunger. When we get hungry, right? That's even worse than anything else. And no joy like the joy of freedom. If you want to be free, we have to obey the law, right? That means, for example, within a country, every country has the law. If we do not obey the law, Nathan interested, if we do not obey the law of the country, what happens when we commit it?
We get penalized for it.
And do you think you get freedom from it?
No.
That means freedom only within the law. Freedom cannot go outside the law.
Yeah.
So that means a lot of crazy stuff right now in the society, right? The people chaos and do a lot of bad things, right? And they want to be freedom, but actually they put themselves in trouble, right? That is not the way we free. We have to freedom within the law. That's how we respect everyone, right?
Yeah.
If no law, the whole country go chaos, right? And that's what we don't want. So So enjoy the freedom. That means we obey the law. Okay, that's important. Okay, let's see. Nathan, did I ask you to read it yet? I forgot.
8.
How did I ask you to read this section? What?
No, he didn't.
Okay, go ahead and do from the number 8 to number 10.
Victory breeds hatred. The defeated live in pain. Happily, the peaceful life, giving up victory and defeat. Kindness should not become the natural way of life, not the exception. When an evil person hears about your goodness and intentionally comes to cause trouble, you should restrain yourself and not become angry or blame him. Then the one who has come to do evil will do evil to him.
Okay, that's good. Victory will cause hatred, right? Defeat will live in pain. If we want to live happily and peaceful life, right, we have to give up both victory and defeat, right? That means we don't involve in any kind of ego, right? That's important. Anyone want to because victory and defeat, that means the fighting, right? If we want to give up the fighting, that means no victory, no defeat. That we enjoy the happy life and peaceful life. That's the Buddha wanted to say. Kindness should become natural way of life, not the exception. If we want to be happy, right, we have to practice kindness. No exception. Okay? When an evil person hear about the goodness, that means when we practice the goodness, right? And the evil person want and happy intention come and cause us trouble, we should retain ourselves and not become angry or blame him. We should retain ourselves, control ourselves, not become angry or blame him. Then the one who have come to do evil, the evil will do up on them. That means they will end up in suffering. That's the Buddha says. Yeah. All right, that's good. Nathan in California, you read number 11.
There was a person who, upon hearing that I observed the way and practiced great kindness, it intentionally come to berate me. I was silent and did not reply. When he finished abusing me, I asked if you are courteous to people and they do not accept your courtesy. And courtesy returns to you, does it not? It does, he replied. I said, how are you scolding me, but receive it. So the misfortune returns to you and must remain with you. It is as inevitable as an echo that follows you, a sound, or as a shadow that follows a form. In the end, you cannot avoid it. Therefore, be careful and not to do evil.
Okay. So when there were a person who heard that I observe the way and practice great kindness, right? That means the Buddha in this case. But that means he practiced the way and practiced the great kindness. And if someone comes to intentionally to berate him and cause him trouble, right? He silently he was silent and he did not reply. But when he finished abusing him, right? And the Buddha asked him if someone courage to the people and they do not accept their courage return to you, right? Not yet, it does. So the Buddha said that if you are scouting me, right, but I do not receive it, the misfortune will return to you and must remain with you. So it's as inevitable as an echo follow the sound. When we say something, it's echo, right? The sound follow. And just to them, the same thing. When we walk, right? When we move, or when the form, when any kind of form, they have a shadow. Follow it, right? The same idea. So when the person come and try to give us trouble, and we silent, the trouble will return to them. So they will they will have that effect. That means the evil will cause them suffering. So that's why the Buddha said that be careful not to do evil. So this is important. All right, let me see. Okay, Johnson, you do number 12 and number 13.
Patience under insult is the greatest strength, because people who are patient do not harbor hatred, and they gradually grow more peaceful and strong. Patient people, since they are not evil, will surely gain the respect of others. Ego is just like the dust in the eyes. Without clearing the dust, we cannot see clearly. So clear the ego and see the world.
Okay, that's good. Patient. When someone insults us, right, and we are patient, that is the greatest strength. No strength greater than that, right? If we be able to be patient, right, we can overcome the anger, overcome the insult. And the person who practices patience, they do not harbor or carry hatred within them, and they gradually grow more peaceful and strong. That means the person who do not carry hatred, they will live happily and peacefully, and even stronger. Right? Patient people, since they are not evil, will surely gain the respect of others. When we practice patience, we will not do any evil, because patience is not evil. That's what the Buddha said. So therefore, we will gain a lot of respect from other people. And ego, right? That means we proud them ourselves so much, and usually we cause a lot of problem for ourselves and other people. So the ego is just like the dust in the eye, right? So without clearing the dust, we cannot see clearly. So clear the ego and see the world. That means in order to see the world, we not should clear our ego. That means to be humble. The opposite of ego, that means we practice humbleness. Okay. That's important. Okay. Novi, you do number 14 to number 17.
Relationship never dies a natural death. They are murdered by ego, attitude, and ignorance. Ego is the only requirement to destroy any relationship. So be a bigger person, skip the E, and let it go. Ego never accepts the truth. A man asked Gautama Buddha, I want happiness. Buddha said, first remove the I, that is ego. Then remove want, that is desire. See, now you are left with only happiness.
Okay, good. So relationship never die a natural death, right? That means for the natural death, that means relationship will not break, right? But they will become murdered by the ego. If we have ego, we have attitude, we are ignorant. That means we will break the relationship. We will cause we will have a bad relationship with others. And that's why the relationship murdered by the ego, attitude, and ignorance. So we have to be very careful and value whatever the relationship we have, like the parent and children, husband and wife, the sibling, like friend, all those relationships we have to value. Otherwise, if we let our ego and attitude and ignorance harm our relationship, and when it harms, you will live in remorse. You will feel regretful, right? Regretful later on, and that's not good, right? So we have to be very mindful. And the ego is the only requirement to destroy any relationship. When we have ego, it will destroy our relationship. So be a bigger person, skip the E and let it go. That's good. This is the way they play the word. That means skip the E and let it go. That means let go the ego. Okay, ego never accept the truth, because the person who have ego, they will not be able to listen to learn about the truth. So even though when we say tell them the truth, They will not easily accept it. They do not easily see it because the ego blocks them from seeing the truth. Okay, this is important. Don't let our mind, the crazy mind, the monkey mind, control us because if we believe in those things, they will harm us more than they benefit. Okay? So we have to be very careful. Um, um, okay. A man asked the Gautama Buddha, I want happiness. Buddha said, first remove I, that is the ego. Then remove one, that is the desire. See, now you are left with only happiness. That's what the Buddha said. Remove I, is ego. One, that is desire. The only thing you have left is happiness. Very simple practice, but it's not easy to practice. That's why the Buddha teaching is just like give you the manual, give you the guidance how to deal with the world, right? If you have this kind of guidance, you will live a happy life. So that is important. Usually people do not understand this, therefore when they stress, when they depressed, they don't know how to get out. And that's why they live in the suffering in life so much. Okay, Vincent, you do number 18 all the way to 20.
Should you find as wise critic to point out your faults, follow him as you would a guide to a hidden treasure. Just as treasure are uncovered from the earth, so virtue appears from good deeds, and wisdom appears from a pure and peaceful mind. To walk safely through the maze of human life, one needs the light of wisdom and the guidance of virtue. A good friend who points out mistakes and imperfections and rebukes evil is to be respected as if he reveals the secret of hidden treasure.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Should you find at why credit to point out your fault? Follow him as you would a guide to hidden treasure. If someone try to point out our mistake, so we need to respect him because this is it's not easy that we see our own mistake, right? We do not see our own mistake. Usually we see other people's mistake. If someone is really point out our mistake, that means they try to help us to improve, right? We should accept it with happiness. And just like and follow him, just like he the one who guide us to the hidden treasure. Hidden treasure in this case that means you will see your goodness, right, within yourself. That is the hidden treasure that's important. Just as the treasure are uncovered from the earth, so the virtue appear from good deeds, and the wisdom appear from a pure and peaceful mind. That means that the treasure come from the earth, right? But the virtue appear from the good deed and the wisdom. The one who have good deed and wisdom, that person they have the virtue. That's what it means. And also come from the pure and peaceful mind. That means the one who has virtue, they will have pure mind and the peaceful mind. And remember, human life right now, what we have in the society, everything is chaos, everything is upside down, and it's very terrible. So if in order for us to walk safely through the maze of the human life, one needs the light of wisdom and the guidance of virtue. That means we need to have wisdom and we need to have the guidance of virtue to walk safely in the human life. That's important. That means when we grow up, right, we go out and we deal with the worldly people and the worldly matter. If we don't have wisdom and the virtue, we will be trapped in the worldly conflict, the worldly suffering. Right? What we need to have the wisdom and the guidance of virtue. A good friend who point out mistake and imperfection and revoke evil is to be respected and reveal a secret of hidden treasure. If someone that means the good friend, that means the one who point out a mistake, that is considered to be the good friend. Remember that. So we should respect him, just like that he the one that show us the secret of hidden treasure. That's important. So okay, let me recap here. Okay, let me what going on there? Okay, let me recap here quickly. So in here, we learn about the determination. This is come from the Buddhist teaching. We understand the trouble caused by the anger, and also the benefit that we practice loving kindness, patience, and remove the ego. And we also learn about the bad thing about the ego. When we have the ego, which cause a lot of suffering to us. So we learn the good and the bad, right? So that means due to the Buddha teaching, that give us the strong determination. Does that make sense to you, everyone?
Yes, it makes
Yes, Thai.
Nathan, both sides, and also Novi.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you. Okay, we will move to the next one, the mindfulness. That means we will learn about the story, different story, to learn the conduct of patience and forgiveness from the Buddha and other. We practice the loving kindness, right? So this is important. That is what the mindfulness. We will learn about different story. Okay, let us see the story at the beginning.
If you live in a qualified zip code, you may be eligible to receive USA-made solar panels for no cost at install and get.
Can you see it? Anyone?
Yes, Thai.
One day, Buddha decided to go away for a little while. He asked his chief disciples like Ananda, Shariputra, and others to stay back at the monastery while he ventured out on his own. It was most unusual because generally wherever Buddha went, he was accompanied by his devotees and disciples who doted on him and revered him more than their own lives. They always wanted to be around to behold his beautiful form, to listen to his tranquil words, and above all, just to serve him. But at this time, Buddha instructed them not to follow him until he said otherwise. Exploring new places, as he walked from one village to another, many people did not recognize him. They didn't think he was Gautama Buddha, because there was no entourage, there was no crowd. He was wandering like any other monk, discreet and alone. On the way, Buddha approached a man for his alms. The man, however, was distraught and livid, for his only cow had just died a few minutes ago. In a fit of rage, he began shouting at Buddha and hurled abuses at him. The sage kept quiet and walked away, but a villager close by felt the unmistakable presence of Buddha and recognized him.
Vincent, pay attention so you can help me to summarize at the end. Okay, Vincent?
Okay.
He pacified the abuser and said, "Don't you know who he was?" "What do I care?" the man said. "No, you should. He was Tathagata, the Buddha himself." "What are you saying?" the man exclaimed. "It's not possible because he always has a large crowd following him. Where are his disciples?" "That I don't know, but I can tell you that he was Buddha. I've heard he's traveling on his own for the next little while." The man was guilt-ridden and decided to find the sage so he could beg his pardon. The next day he traced him and fell at his feet. "Forgive me, O sage," he said. "I am really ashamed for calling your names. Please punish me, so I may be purified." "Punish you for what?" Buddha spoke calmly. "For swearing at you, my lord." "When did you say that?" "Yesterday," he said. "I don't know yesterday," Buddha said. "I know only today." You see, in life, the hardest of all human emotions is forgiveness. The most difficult human emotion to experience and act upon is forgiveness. It is the pinnacle of spiritual attainment, next to compassion. This story of Buddha has a very important message for all of us. We often hold on to grudges in our lives. When we do this, we are giving strength to our emotions of anger, grief, jealousy, and sadness, hence making them stronger. We create a whole story around why we are experiencing these emotions. Instead, we should understand that life in itself is constantly changing. We make it harder by blocking our emotions and letting them get stuck. By practicing forgiveness, we are allowing these emotions to move through us. The key to forgiveness is to show compassion and understanding for the other person. Understand that if you were them with their life experience and genetics, you would be doing the same thing. Find a part of yourself that you can recognize in the other person. This is most important. And at the end of the day, just let go. This is spiritual motivation stories. Thanks.
Okay, Vincent.
Okay, so like you know how Buddha has like disciples following him. One day he told them to stop following him until he asked for it. He walks up to a man. I think he's asking for something, or the man doesn't know he's Buddha, so he abuses him, like call him names and stuff. And then there's another guy that knows he's Buddha and then tells the man, and the man walks up to finds Buddha one day and tells him to punish him, but he said he only lives today, not from yesterday, and he forgives him.
Okay, okay, thank you. So basically, the one who yelled at him and scowled at him, right? And later on, he know that was Buddha, and he went and searched for Buddha, and he fell down to his feet and asked for the forgiving. And the Buddha said, "When did you do that?" And he said, "Yesterday." And the Buddha said, "I don't know yesterday. I only know today." That's what it means. Usually, that means the Buddha said that whatever done in the past, I do not hold on to it. That is the true forgiveness. If someone caused us harm, right, caused us suffer, but we do not carry any resentment toward them, that means we do not live in the past. We always live at the current moment. Does it make sense to you, Vincent?
Yes.
So when we do not hold on to the resentment against them, that means we live in the current moment, not in the past. Therefore, that is the true forgiveness. When we forgive someone, right, that they don't even know that we forgive them, that is a beautiful forgiveness. Yeah. So that is truly forgiveness. So that's why the Buddha said, "I don't know yesterday, I only know today." I mean, he never carried any resentment or bad thing against that person. So that is truly forgiveness. All right, that's good. Let me show you another story. Let's see. So we learn about this. We learn about forgiveness and also the patience and loving kindness. From this thing. Okay, let's see.
Ready to start eating healthier? Meet Kachava. Kachava is the world's.
All right. Nathan in Texas, can you help me to summarize the story at the end? Thank you. Nathan, are you there now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, let me make sure you know the story about the fly twins. The Buddhist view on the obsessive bug. Okay, that is the story we are about to learn.
One day, after Buddha passed away, there was a king named Ashoka. He was very kind, and his government was very compassionate. He had a son with eyes as beautiful as the kunala, an Indian bird famous for its beautiful eyes. Because the king liked this kind of bird, he named his son Kunala. When Prince Kunala grew up, he was very handsome. His conduct was proper, and he was very kind. King Ashoka was a devoted Buddhist. One day, the king brought his son to a temple, and he asked a monk named Yasa about the Buddhist teachings. Yasa looked at the young prince and said, "Human life is impermanent. A body goes through the stages of birth, aging, illness, and death. And human life is filled with impurity. Who can have the beauty of youth forever? All these are illusions. In the same way, although the prince's eyes seem beautiful, they are actually full of filth and the source of trouble." The prince was quite puzzled. Everyone always praised him for his beautiful eyes. But why would the monk say that they were dirty and the source of trouble? These words kept whirling around his head. There were many concubines in the king's palace. One young lady was deeply attracted by Kunala's good looks. When she saw him sitting alone in the garden one day, she started to fondle him, trying to seduce him. But the prince was a righteous person and could not agree to such behavior. He pulled himself together and freed himself from her unwanted attentions. Later, when the young prince was old enough to marry, King Ashoka found a wife for him. When the concubine saw the lover of her dreams married to someone else, she became intensely jealous, and her love turned to hatred. Not long after the marriage, the king became sick, and the young concubine looked after him carefully until he recovered. He was grateful for her care and said to her, "Because you took care of me for such a long time, I will give you anything you desire." And she said, "I just want to rule the country for 7 days." The king thought to himself that since he had promised, he couldn't go back on his word. Besides, it was only for 7 days, so he agreed. She was on the throne. The young lady wrote a letter filled with both love and hate, and sent it to Prince Kunala. She wrote that her fury would only be distilled if she never saw his eyes again. Now the prince finally realized what that monk had meant, but it was too late. The lady's word was like the king's command, and it couldn't be disobeyed. Kunala reluctantly gouged out one eye and held it in his hand. "It is so disgusting," he suddenly realized. "Why would such a filthy little thing be praised by so many people and bring so much trouble? Since she wants both eyes, I'll take out the other one too." And when both eyes were gone, everything before him was in total darkness. But his mind was suddenly filled with light. He felt the peace that comes from spiritual enlightenment. When his wife heard the news, she ran to the blind prince and started to cry and cry. But the prince was calm and consoled him with the Buddhist teachings. Human life is impermanent, so don't harbor hatred or worry, because hatred and worry are your greatest enemies. At that time, the bodyguard warned the prince, "Your Highness, if you stay in the palace, I'm afraid that your life will be in danger." The prince, of course, was already aware of this, and since he didn't want the court lady to continue making bad karma for herself by doing something even worse, he and his wife fled the palace. They learned to play the lute and to sing, and they wandered from town to town, making music in the streets. People would throw them a few coins, and in this way, the prince and his wife were able to feed themselves. A few years later, they happened to come back to the capital. And one day, while they were wandering into the streets alongside the palace and started to sing, King Ashoka heard the beautiful but mournful songs. He thought of his son, who had suddenly disappeared years before. He told his attendants to invite the musicians to enter the palace. When the king saw the loose flame, he realized that it was indeed the sun that he had been thinking of day and night. When he saw how Prince Kunala had fallen from his royal life and was now only a blind lute player singing on the streets for a living, the king was very distressed. He asked the prince, "Who did this to you? Who made you lose your sight?" But Kunala refused to talk about it. He just told his father about the truths that he had learned, hoping his father would calm down. At last, the ministers and the guards couldn't endure it anymore and reported the truth to the king. He was furious and wanted to execute that concubine, but the prince begged his father to forgive her. The king was touched by Prince Kunala's compassion and released the young concubine. However, in her own conscience, she was ashamed of herself and finally committed suicide. Because of her impure love, she had created trouble and hatred, hurt other people, and destroyed herself. Was it all worth it? You see, in life, the truth is not only in good looks, but it is in pure heart and pure mind. Emotions, good ones such as bad ones, can be impure, or there can be hope, real. Love should never be destroyed. Love and jealousy should never be together. Real, true, and all-forgiving love is the truth. Love that breaks, destroys, and hurts other people is not love. It is something else. Sometimes everything in life can be an illusion. Only time will go on relentlessly. So don't waste your time by hurting other people, or thinking thoughts, or doing deeds that are no good to anyone. Use your time here wisely and be a good person. This is Their Driven Motivation Stories. Thanks for watching and stay blessed.
Go ahead, Nathan.
Okay, so I don't really remember the names, but the king gave birth to, well, obviously the prince, and then a Buddhist monk came to like tell, like just give his opinion on the prince, and he said like his eyes were gonna cause trouble in the future, and it ended up being right because a lot of like another woman tried to get with him, and like since he didn't like what she was giving out, he declined, and then once he got married, the other woman got jealous, and then she ended up getting power and forced him to remove his eyes, and then it just, yeah, I don't really know what the moral of the story is. I think it's just yeah, I know what the story is like trying to do, but I don't really get what it's.
Okay, let me help you. Okay. So basically, this is the story that was the king, right? He had a son with a beautiful eye, and that's why he named his son Konala. That is the name of the bird, beautiful bird, right? That's why. And one day, king brought the son, right, to the temple, see the monk, and the monk said that life is impermanent. That means nothing stays forever. Even the beautiful thing, right? The beautiful thing cannot stay forever. They will not become beautiful forever. Except that the eye is also the impurity and also the soul of trouble. And the prince did not understand the monk at that time because everyone praising him that he have a beautiful eye. But why the monk said that this is impurity and the source of trouble? So he not quite understand it. At that time, there were inside the palace where there are many concubines. That means one of the ladies, she fall in love with him, and she tried to seduce the prince, and the prince hold himself to prevent such a bad conduct from the lady. And later on, when he grow up, and the king want to find a wife for him, and he find a wife for the prince to get married. Because of that, the lady that fall in love at the beginning, she jealous, right, to the prince, and she carried the resentment and jealousy within herself so many years. One day, the king will fall in sick. That means the father. The king was the father of the prince. For he very ill, right? He very sick, and this lady she came and take care of the king so diligently and with hard work, right, to take care of the king. And after the king recovered, and the king told her, the lady that because you take a good care of me, whatever you want, I will do it for you. And you know what? She said that I would like to become the king for 7 days. Well, when the king said her promises, and he cannot go back to back out, right, from his promise, and therefore he said that only 7 days. It's not a big deal. So the king said yes. And you know what? When she became the king, right, for 7 days, the first thing on the first day, what she did is she wrote a letter to the prince, and in the letter she said to the prince about love and hatred. She said that from now on, I don't want to see your eye anymore again. So that, and at that time, the prince understand about the monk teaching, right? And he said, that, oh yeah, the eye, everyone is praising him, have a beautiful eye, but this year, so he have to, he take out one eye and he hold one eye on his hand, and actually it's impurity, it's not pure, right? And also this is the source of trouble. Why many people praising me? I have a beautiful eye. At that time, he realized, he understand the monk saying, and he take out another eye too. So, what if you want both eye? I give you both eye. And since he had no resentment, he had no anger toward the lady. Therefore, even though he lose both eye, but he had his mind very peaceful, right? He always had peaceful mind. And when his wife heard the news, she went to the prince and cried to him. And the prince taught her about the Buddhist teaching to calm her down. And okay, the bodyguard told the prince that if you stay at the palace, you will be in danger. So you should leave the palace, and the prince also know that too. So on that night, he and his wife left the palace, and he for many years they been on the street. And how do they make the living? By laying the truth, the truth, right? And also and sing the song to show the people on the street gave him a few corn. So that's how he make a living for day to day. And after for a few years, and he eventually come back to the capital, right? And outside the capital, he's singing. The king day and night remember about his son, and that suddenly disappeared, right, from the palace. And suddenly he heard the sound, right? And he actually man came out and see who was it, and invite that person in. And when the prince came to the palace, and the king realized that that is his son, right? That was his son indeed. And he saw that his son was a prince, and now turned into the just like the beggar, right? The beggar on the street, living by begging for food, making okay, that's terrible. And also he also saw that the prince would lose the sight, right? And the king tried to ask the prince, who did that to you? And the prince did not say anything about that, but he want to convince the king about the Buddha teaching and the truth that he have learned in many years. But the minister or the god, they cannot endure anymore. They told the king about the truth, and one day they know the king know the truth, and the king want to execute punish that lady, and the prince begging the king that do not punish her and please forgive her. And yet the king did, and later on that lady was due to her bad deed, right? She feel very remorse about her bad deed, and she commit suicide and kill herself. So basically, in this story here, when we remember love and jealousy do not go together. If love, when we have love and we harm other people, that is not really a love, right? That is something else. So basically, in this story, teaching us that whatever we have, whoever harm us, and if we be able to forgive others, that's how we can be able to live a peaceful mind. And the one harm us, one who jealous, one who cause us trouble, and they not only destroy other people, they destroy themselves as well. So this is from this story we learn about forgiveness, and we also learn about that if we harm other people, we harm ourselves. That is, do you understand, Nathan?
Yeah, I get it now.
This is a very important. Okay, we stop right here, and it's still more, and we will learn more next week. I hope you enjoy the teaching today. Okay, I am a little bit late here. I'm sorry for that. Okay, okay, all right. Okay, Novi, can you do this for me, please? Put our palm together now.
May every living being, our minds as one and radiant with light, share the fruits of peace with heart of goodness, luminous and bright. If people hear and see how hands and hearts can find in giving unity, may their minds awake to great compassion, wisdom, and to joy. May kindness find reward, may all who sorrow leave their grief and pain. May this boundless light break darkness of their endless night, because our hearts are one. This world of pain turns into paradise. May all become compassionate and wise. May all become compassionate and wise.
Thank you, everyone. I wish you have a good weekend. Oh, before we leave, we have the after school program online, and also maybe also at the